Senator Coyle.
Senator Gold, Indigenous women and gender-diverse people are vastly overrepresented in Canada's federal correctional institutions, with Indigenous women accounting for 50% of federally incarcerated women. Correctional Service Canada often claims they do not control who enters federal prisons, but they do have significant control over how individuals are classified, how security levels are assigned, and how parole eligibility is determined, all of which disproportionately affects Indigenous individuals. Given these apparent systemic biases in CSC's risk assessment tools, which have been shown to disproportionately harm Indigenous women, what specific action is the government taking to reform these assessment practices, and what is CSC doing to ensure culturally relevant rehabilitation and support programs are in place so that Indigenous women and gender-diverse individuals can access parole and reintegrate in a timely and successful manner in our society?
Thank you for your question. Indeed, the ongoing overrepresentation of Indigenous peoples within the justice system is a critical issue that we must continue to address. I've been informed that Correctional Services Canada has taken important steps in this regard. For example, creating a Deputy Commissioner for Indigenous Corrections who is focused on addressing overrepresentation. Their work includes implementing UNDRIP and the recommendations from the MMIWG inquiry. Government is also making investments in culturally relevant services through the Indigenous Community Correction Initiative, which supports reintegration projects for Indigenous offenders. Government is well aware there's much more work to be done. It will remain engaged with all partners on this important work.
Senator Coyle.
Senator Gold, recent reports, including the 2023 article from the Globe and Mail, explain that Indigenous women are often placed in structured intervention units at alarmingly high rates, contributing to severe mental health deterioration. Could you tell us what steps are being taken to reduce the use of isolation of Indigenous women and ensure that these women are not subject to further harm while in federal custody?
Senator Gold.
Correctional Services is obligated, colleagues, to consider systemic and background factors unique to Indigenous offenders in all decision-making. And this includes that before authorizing the transfer of an Indigenous inmate to an SIU, Correctional Services Canada must consider Indigenous social history, and this includes identifying appropriate alternatives, culturally appropriate alternatives, and consulting with an interdisciplinary team. And other measures involve providing culturally appropriate support as needed.